Hey everybody, this is Johnny Gioeli from Crush 40, and you're listening to the one and only Sega Lounge.
Welcome to the Sega Lounge, a podcast dedicated to our love for all things Sega, be it the games, the music, or the community. I'm KC. In each episode, I'll be talking to different guests and sharing their projects and their passion for Sega. Welcome to this week's episode of the Sega Lounge. This is already episode 10 of the current season, and it's been an amazing run so far, if I do say so myself. None of this, the great guests, the giveaways, and the great time I've been having doing this show, none of this would be possible without you guys, the listeners. So thank you so much for listening every single week, and if you're new around here, please consider subscribing to the show as I'm working on some pretty cool interviews for future episodes. On that note, let's take a look at the great battle of lounge listening countries. By week 10, here's the top 3. Third place goes to the UK, with a big predominance of Manchester. In second place, we have our friends from Sweden. Hello, Sweden. And still in first place, the US of A, with Texas, New Jersey, and California being our top 3 listener states. Special mention to newcomers Nigeria, United Arab Emirates, Bulgaria, Taiwan, New Zealand, and many, many more. If you're listening from one of these newcomer countries, hello! Thanks for listening. Let me know how to say hello in your native language or something. Anyway, let's get back on track. And getting back on track also means coming back with a new interviewee after last week's live episode. That was exceptionally a roundtable. This week's guest is a proper rock star. He's not only a great guy and one of my favorite vocalists of all time, but he's an actual rock star in the literal sense of the word. In the early 90s, his band Hardline topped the charts worldwide. Later that decade, he teamed up with Sega's Jun Senoue to form Crush 40 and exploded into the ears of Sonic fans everywhere. He is also part of Axel Rudipell's band and, in 2018, released his first solo album as a tribute to the fans and as a way to help out a family friend in need. He's been on the show before, but I used the fact that Crush 40's song Green Light Ride, the main theme of Team Sonic Racing, had won Radio Sega's Fan Choice Song of the Year award for 2019 to get him back for another chat. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Johnny Gioeli. Hello, Johnny. Welcome to the Sega Lounge.
Hey bro, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being back here on the Sega Lounge. It's been a while.
Great. It has been a while. Great to be back with you always.
Thank you. 2016 was the last time we spoke.
Wow.
Yeah, we were one day away from Human Nature being released.
Wow.
Yeah.
David, that's incredible.
Yeah.
4 years ago. Unbelievable. Where did that time go?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'd like it back.
We're all younger now.
Yes, we are. That's exactly. I go backwards now. When you hit my age, you just start counting backwards. So it's good to be with you, man. Good to be with you.
Great to have you back. So,
Thank you.
You've been an incredibly busy man. We said this last time. You were always busy. So, Hardline, Axel Rudipell, Crush 40. Your own solo project, we'll talk about that in a bit. That was the main reason why you came on the Sega Lounge last time. But let's go back just a little bit, just a couple of years. Yeah, not even 2 years because it wasn't that long ago. You started doing music professionally when you were 11 years old, right? So
yeah,
just
right.
like last year. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
2 years ago.
Okay. So, how did that come to be? Was that always your dream?
Yeah, it's interesting, man. For me, I was actually 8 years old when I discovered music, and I have an older brother, and my brother Joe was also in the same group, Hardline, which featured Neil Schon from Journey, the rock group Journey. And when we did our big debut album in 1992, my brother was part of that record, of course. But when he was coming up, he's older than me. He's about 6 years older than I am. And when he had his friends over to jam in our basement, because that's where we had kept all our equipment. I mean, as an 8 year old, and you see your older brother playing music and having so much fun, I obviously gravitated towards that. But I took it, maybe 17,000 steps farther. I became obsessed and just addicted. It was my addiction. It's a good addiction to music. And I recall as I'm sitting here, my father making fun of me because I would just walk around the house with an acoustic guitar. It never left my hand. And while my friends were out, playing and sports, which I did some of that, of course. I had a normal childhood. Um, I knew at that moment, at 8 years old, when I was learning songs like "Stairway to Heaven," that I wanted to be a rock star, a musician. I wanted to perform for people. I wanted people to be impressed and happy all at the same time, and it's always been my quest to make people happy. That for me, that is everything. And so I got involved. I started, I had a few lessons, a couple guitar lessons, but then everything else, drums and piano and bass guitar and singing, everything came by way of the big guy, who I call God. And so uh, that's how it happened. And at 11 years old, I continued as a professional musician. So the real definition of a professional musician is one that gets paid. So
Yeah.
once you start getting paid, you are now a professional. And it was 11 years old when I started playing all kinds of venues, from south in Florida, in the United States, all the way up the East Coast. And I played all the time, and I was not in school a lot, missed a lot of school, which I regret. But I had a vision and a goal, and absolutely told myself I would not stop until I got my wish, and that was to be a musician, professional musician. So here I am
Awesome.
today. How old am I now? 23, 24 in each leg. And and I'm still going, man, and I love it. And yeah, busy, you said it, man. I am so busy. I always say that I am busy like a one-legged kickboxer. If you can envision what that would look like, that is that is me. So and I love it, man. I love it. I'm up early. I watch the sun come up, and I am going all day until I pass out. I just keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, you said something that I can totally see. You said you wanted to make people happy, right? That was the goal.
Yeah.
You're more when I was actually watching a video of you talking
Mhm.
about One Voice, the solo
Yeah.
album that you released
Sure.
a few years ago,
Mhm.
and you were talking about it, but you were not just talking. You were at that moment, I think, without realizing, you were entertaining people. You were, I was, I was blown away
Okay.
because when I looked at the time, the video had passed, and what happened? I was just starstruck at the moment. So you're really a good entertainer. That's
Oh,
what
thank you. I
something
don't
I
try to be. This is just something that is natural for me.
yeah
So,
yeah
when you're a musician and you're creating music, of course you're creating what you envision, kind of, like a painter wants to paint a picture.
uh-huh
It's the same thing, but the desire and the hope is that you connect with someone. So whatever you're feeling and whatever you're writing, you the ultimate goal and feeling is that you connect, and it makes someone feel a certain way, makes them happy, makes them energized, brings them up when they're feeling down, whatever it is, whatever the emotion is. That's the outcome that I always want to achieve. And I got to tell you, man, um, just the happiest moments in my music career, in my life, are when people come up to me and say, such and such a song, Live and Learn, Crush 40, that just, it changed my life. It's a lifelong memory for me as a kid. It's this, it got me through hard times. I blah, blah, blah. You know, that's when you are really successful. It's funny. I never really thought about the money of music. I never did. I never said, I want to become a rock star because I want to make millions of dollars. I never thought about that. Never, ever, ever. As I sit here, honest to God, I never thought about that. I only thought about when I play this song on the stage, I hope the people feel it and love it and react to it. And we used to say, too, some of the biggest shows in my career, when I play 50,000, 80,000, 100,000 seaters, when the lights go off and that crowd, the noise from that crowd rises like a freaking storm, man, that feeling that runs through your body, that could power a small city like New York. Okay, a large city like New York. That could power that energy. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's what I live for.
Awesome. Great answer. I think we can end this right now. That's amazing.
Okay, cool. Words
of wisdom. Awesome. But yeah, it definitely shows. Yeah, what you just said. Okay, so you then moved on. You created Hardline with your brother, right? At some point, so I was listening back to the last interview we did, episode 62 of the Sega Lounge, by the way.
Okay.
And you said you went from a multi-million-dollar deal to being gone. So what happened with Hardline at that point that you just went on a break?
Yeah, so it was a timing. It was a timing issue. We had a very successful album with Double Eclipse, and we sold lots and lots of records, and it's today still known as a very a classic melodic rock record. But at that time, we were just a little bit too late timing. If that would have come out in the late '80s, it'd probably been a multi platinum album, I would think. But grunge music entered in the early '90s. Bands like Soundgarden and Pearl Jam, and MTV stopped playing music videos. I mean, that's what it was all about at the time, and started doing these reality shows and things, and so the market itself dried up. And I'll never forget, there's a very famous man in the business, not a musician, and I won't mention his name, but he was responsible for bands like Guns N' Roses and big Metallica and groups like that. And he told me, he said, MTV's not going to play videos anymore. And I said, what are you talking about? And he goes, no, it's over, man. He goes, you guys made a beautiful record, but it's over. And we were like, yeah, right. What, are you kidding me? And he was right. It was over. Grunge came in and literally just wiped us out. And we had a meeting. We were going to do another record. And we had a meeting at the record company. And the record company wanted to make us sound like a grunge band. And we said, absolutely not. That's not who we are. And when we said no, deal was over. So one day you've got $8.5 million, and the next day you've got nothing. And that's the business.
Yeah.
But, I could have certainly said, hey, yeah, sure, I'll conform. I'll try to sound like a grunge guy. But for me, it wasn't me. And I didn't want to do it. So bye-bye went the deal. And then, when you lose a big deal like that, it's everything I worked for to you need some time, you need a little therapy. And so, and I didn't need like real therapy, but I need time away from the business to try to figure out, what I was going to do. And
how do you cope with that, with that feeling, with maybe even
Well,
overwhelming feeling of
it's like
things being gone like that.
it's just like we how we all deal with things like loss and death and divorce and all that stuff. We all deal with it different ways, but certainly I went through different stages. My first fear again was not the money. My first fear was, am I not going to hear that crowd sound anymore? Am I not going to be in a magazine again? And you know what I mean? Because those were to see yourself in the magazines, like, wow, it validates, wow, I'm worthy. I did it. I got to this place. It's very hard. There's there's a tremendous amount of talent out there that never ever gets heard. Even with this thing we call the internet and this social networking and all these ways for new artists to be heard, it's still very, very difficult. It's like winning the lottery, so
It's probably harder now, right?
it's
There
probably
are
harder.
so many
Sure.
people.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Back in the day, when you submitted your music to a record company, there was a process to do it, and you had to have a lawyer. It's called non-solicited, so you couldn't just send them a tape. A tape. I just dated myself. A tape. So you couldn't just send them music. There you go. You had to present it through a lawyer. Today, forget it. You put it up on Instagram, you Snapchat, you do this, you whatever. I don't even know all the stuff now. And so it's a different world. But as far as that loss, I went through the stages, the anger, the depression, the fear that we all go through. Because at that point in my life, and everything I've worked for since I was 8 years old, and it's stripped from you, you need some time to figure out, how do I start again? Really, what do I do? How do I even start this again? So for me, it was just taking time away from everything and just thinking. And I took quite a few years to do just that.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
So
And so you ended up getting other projects, and now you're
mhm,
a very busy man. So
mhm,
everything worked out. Things, what was once old is now new again. In music is
yeah,
no exception to that as well. But you ended up working with Jun Senoy. How did that happen as well?
yeah. So I have to remember, because you're jogging my memory back to 1998, and I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. So let me think. Okay, so it was Doug Aldridge. So Doug Aldridge is a buddy of mine. He's a phenomenal guitar player. He plays in a band called the Dead Daisies now, but he was also in the famous band Whitesnake.
Hmm.
And June Sonoy knew him, and June was a big Hardline fan, so he was always a fan of my voice. And so June contacted Doug Aldridge. Doug Aldridge gave him my telephone number, because in the music business, we have a courtesy. We don't just give everybody our numbers. It's like, is it okay if I share your number with him, and blah, blah, blah. It's just a nice courtesy. So
Yeah.
Doug contacted me. He said, this gentleman named June in Japan works for Sega. And I said, what's that? And he laughed. He said, oh, it's a big video company. I said, okay, cool. And I said, sure, give him my number. And then June and I started talking, and I didn't understand any of this. I'm like, what are you talking about? Video games? No, I don't do video games, man. What do you mean? And then he explained, and he sent me music, and then we worked together, and the rest is history. Okay, the interview's over.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. So that's
Yeah.
how I met June, and I'm trying to think. And then he flew here. Well, not here, but I used to live in California, so
Hmm.
he flew to California, and that's where I met him, physically met him, and we went immediately into the studio to work on Thrill of the Feel
Okay.
music.
So, and how does that work for someone who is not a video game player, who is not a video game fan? In your head, was it like doing music for a movie or something, or?
Well, good, exactly. So two things. One, I think it worked to my advantage that I wasn't intimate with the game itself, because it could have swayed me, to think a different way musically. So the fact was, I was given small pieces like a movie. So Sega and June would send me storyboards, and I still have them. Like I wish I could show everyone. I mean, they're confidential and they're protected, but they're really freaking cool. They're literally drawings of the scene. So let's take like Adventure 2. They sent me um, a particular scene and would draw out each section, like literally the characters, like Sonic and
Hmm.
Eggman, and they would draw them. And then there'd be a little paragraph that says, at this part of the game, evil Eggman says this, does this, whatever. And then, so they would build these storylines right out of the game. And that's the only information I would have. And then I would take that into the studio. June would send me some music. He was like, it's got to have this kind of feel at this part in the game. And then I would read. And then a lot of times I would hand off the big writing to my daughter. She was young at that time. And I'd say to my Katie, can you read this for Dad and tell me what happens in the game? And she'd go, okay, Dad, well, the evil Eggman does this, blah, 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 and the whole thing. Okay, I got it. And then I'd go into the studio and I would just create. So they would give me just enough information to be dangerous and not too much. And that's how I've done every single game. And I have, to this day, I have not played one game other than, isn't that funny? I know you laugh. I knew you were going to laugh at me. I have not played one game other than one that I didn't work on, which was the Sonic racing. I can't even see. I can't even remember which one it was.
Sonic in Sega All Stars Racing, perhaps?
Yes, sir. That's it. That's
Yeah.
the one. And that's the only game. And I don't think I'm even on it. But anyway, to this day, I leave all the gaming to you guys, and I just focus on what I'm good at because I'm horrible. I tried to play some of these games. I'm horrible. So stick
Awesome.
to what I know.
And was that the case with Thrill of the Field as well? Because that was used as soundtrack to NASCAR Arcade, a racing game. For that one, did you know what the game was going to be like and whatnot, or did you just write the music and then they used it for the game?
So that one I didn't write the music. June and others wrote. I was just
Okay.
invited to be the singer, so I was not. I was not close and personal to what they were doing. I was just told that it was going to be an actual arcade. Go to
Mm-hmm.
an arcade and sit in the big machine and race, and that music would be fired off as the games played. That's all I knew at that time, and so. Yeah, I didn't at that point, I still didn't quite understand how massive, gaming was.
Uh-huh.
I didn't get it. So I just said, "Okay, June, yeah, I want I approved the songs, I wanted to listen to and make sure I could do a good job singing them." And then I was, basically hired, by Sega to sing on those songs,
Okay.
and then they became very popular, of course, too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But maybe that's for the best. The fact that you didn't really know what the games would be like, or just had a few ideas, right? Parts of the script or
Yeah,
storyboards or
that's right.
whatever.
Yeah.
You actually. When it comes to the fans and the Sonic fans, especially, the first adventure game was like marked a turning point when it comes to soundtrack
Yeah.
for Sonic games. It was really something different. The hard
Yes.
rock style of
Yeah.
music for Sonic games was not something that we were accustomed to seeing before that. So maybe
Right.
that was a good thing, right?
So that was sort of at that point. I have to give myself a little tiny pat on the shoulder because that was actually my idea. After the Thrill of the Field, the arcade stuff went out, and then we had Crush 40 was not Crush 40, and we had to
Yeah.
change our name to Crush 40. But after that all happened, I told June, it was me who said, June, to me, this is similar to a soundtrack in a movie. This should be no different. Sometimes I go see a movie because I love the music in the movie and vice versa. And I said, I think this is like the perfect marriage of music and the game. And I think that fans who love this music will want to play this game because they love the music or they want to hear it or whatever. So it was actually my idea to say, let's become the music and the band behind these epic games, and that's exactly what happened. I'm really grateful that it did, and even to this day, I did not understand how massive really was. It still
Hmm.
is. You know what I mean? I still have a hard time comprehending how many fans, how many people, how many gamers there are, how many people love this music, love these games. It still blows me away.
Yeah.
It brings me to a little short story. I'm good at talking. I can keep talking and talking. You have all day?
Oh, I do. I
Okay.
do.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm
we
kidding.
can we can
But
do multiple episodes of this.
so okay, well, I'll keep it short. I promise you, I'll keep it short. Honestly, I did a convention called Too Many Games in Philadelphia,
Hmm.
Pennsylvania, a couple years ago. I try to do as many events as I possibly can to meet the fans and be with the great fans. But I was picked up at the airport, and there were a few other performers, and one of the guys in the van was Caddy, who's a big YouTuber, and me being just my normal self, I said, "Hello, everybody. I'm Johnny, and I'm the singer for Crush 40." And the van was kind of like one of these little limo vans, erupted in laughter, and it was Caddy who turned around and said, "We know who you are." And I said, "Oh, okay. So, I'm sorry, man." He goes, "Don't you understand who you are?" I go, what do you mean?" And he said, "You are epic in gaming. Our childhood, our the best memories of our lives come from your connection with music to the games like Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes, on and on and on." And I literally got to my hotel, and I called my wife and I said, "I think I missed something here." And she said, "What?" And I said, "Let me tell you what happened." I said, "Holy crap, this is a lot bigger than I really understood." So that brings me to today, and it's still going and still happening, and it's
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah, very exciting, and we all agree that yeah, you were a big part, and you are still a big part of our lives. Uh,
Thank you.
Not really my childhood, but yeah, I'm a little bit
Okay.
older, but okay.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, but not that old. Okay, so moving on. Let's talk a little bit about the thing that you came on the Sega Lounge last time to talk about, which was
Sure.
One Voice, the One Voice project. We all love
Sure.
that. Everyone got behind it. You released the album in the end, obviously, but there was that issue with Pledge Music. You were not the
Yeah.
only one affected. They went bankrupt.
Yeah.
A lot
Exactly.
of legal stuff that happened. What were the repercussions for the project? Especially, this was obviously a project that was something personal to help a friend, Joe Barber. Were you in the end able to donate something to Joe, and how did that happen?
Yeah, so what we did that was so unfortunate. Everyone gave so much of their time and money to help Joe, and I'll give you a quick report on him also. And yeah, and then Pledge Music went bankrupt and took all of the money, which was so illegal because they were using donation money to fund their internal expenses, administrative expenses. So, the president, the CEO, the vice president, the financial officer, and funding all those salaries with our money. It was insane and so horrific, because not only did everyone donate and lose that, Joe never got it, and I also lost because I not only through donation but all my memorabilia, everything I could put my hands on that I could offer in lieu of a donation is gone. It's not gone because it went to you guys, the fans, so that's good. But that money that was paid didn't make its way um, to Joe. So
Okay.
what we did was I immediately called upon the greatest people in the world, my fans, and said, and did a video and said, this is what happened. And I need to help these people. Please, let's do a fund me. And we did a separate, like a GoFundMe page, and everyone again jumped in to help. And so that money, and I don't even know the end amount, but it was fantastic. And that money continued Joe's rehab work, which is so expensive and not covered by any insurance here. Our healthcare system in America sucks. I can say that honestly and openly. And so that money went to fund that, and also Joe was given an opportunity to have an internship with a very famous news program, Anderson 360, and in New York City. So how do you take someone who's completely paralyzed and depends on wheelchair and constant care in New York City and work at a big firm? Well, the money that was raised from the beautiful Sega fans, Hardline fans, Axel fans, everyone, Crush 40 fans, did just that. It provided a special accommodations. It allowed for his parents to take off from work to be there and help. So it was the most amazing experience for him ever. So although it was a bumpy ride, everything, post Pledge Music, and the gracious people who financially helped, made it just a smooth, wonderful experience. And Joe today is finishing college. He graduates soon, and there's lots of new trials that he's going to try. But his focus right now, he's such a strong person. We should all learn from him. He said, the advancements will come. And right now, my focus is my education and finishing what I set out to do. And that's my college education. And I'm going to finish my studies at university. And then I'll worry about getting my body to work. And I thought, wow,
that's amazing.
That's freaking amazing. Yeah. So that's where we are today. And I just saw Joe not too long ago, and he looks great. He's in great spirits, and he has a little bit more movement in his one arm, and his neck and head, but everything else is still it's difficult. It's difficult.
It's an ongoing process as well.
Ongoing process, and everyone I'm just so grateful to everyone who helped. I could stay on this interview and just thank everyone for the next year. So but anyway, that's the situation there.
Yeah. So you said that the fans eventually got their rewards, right? So but
Yes.
I'm a little bummed out because
Why?
I pledged as well, and I'm gonna play a little voice clip from your last interview.
Okay.
And there's something that I didn't get as a reward, and I was really hoping for you to eventually send it to me or something. So,
did I forget?
Probably someone messed up.
One other thing, guys, really, really important. She doesn't know this, but Ali Martel, she's actually a massage therapist and very, very talented. And she doesn't know this, but she's going to be giving free massages for anyone who pledges. And she'll also be cooking and cleaning your home for 2 weeks. I forgot about that, man. I'll send her over.
As a pledger, I feel violated here.
You feel cheated?
Yeah, cheated because I never got a massage from Ellie. Shout out to Ellie, by the way.
That's so funny. She'll be listening for sure. And then I'll get a phone call like, I can't believe you obligated me to massage the entire fan base for Crush 40, which is 7.3 million people.
Yeah, it's on the internet, so it never dies.
That's funny. That's funny. Sorry about that,
bro. Okay, Johnny, let's take a quick break. But before that, I have something that I usually do with my guests, which is called quick shots. Quick shots is not alcohol. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's just a quick fire round, if you will. I have a few words or expressions or names, and what I wanted to do is to think about them really quickly and tell me the first thing that pops into your head when you hear them.
I hate these, David.
Okay.
You're killing
the first
me.
The first thing.
Okay,
So,
first thing.
First one, music.
Life.
Video games.
I'm horrible.
Jun Sonoy.
Wonderful sushi partner. We eat a lot of it together.
Hardline.
Continuing. Always. My baby.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Epic.
And the last one, Johnny Gioeli.
Grateful.
Awesome. Great answer.
Whew.
That was a great one. Yeah, well done.
Those scare me, man.
Yeah,
those scare me.
This was Quick Shots with Johnny Gioeli right here on the Sega Lounge. We're going to take a quick break. But, Johnny, when we come back, I have a surprise for you.
All right. Oh, I'm going to maybe I'll get a massage and a free house cleaning. All right, man.
For the next
I'll
2 weeks.
Stand by.
Yeah. This week's episode of the Sega Lounge is brought to you by Carboat Plane Vehicles. Look, is it a car? Is it a boat? Is it a plane? Yes! When you need to go to work, shopping, or just race an anthropomorphic animal, car, boat, plane vehicles are your best pick. Don't settle for less than a car, boat, plane. Whether you're flying through the clouds near a sanctuary in the sky or having a race for the ages, go to one of our dealerships and ask one of our representatives for the car, boat, plane that's right for you. Car, boat, plane vehicles, the right choice for everyone, including Danica's ass. Warning, a car, boat, plane is always great, but right now, please stay home and save the races for later. Welcome back, Johnny. Hello.
Hey, thank you.
It's like we never left.
Right.
Okay, so Johnny, we're going to talk a little bit more about music and your busy schedule, but it's time now for the Sega Lounge Challenge.
Oh, boy.
Yes, oh boy, indeed.
Now that you know our guests, it's time to put them to the test. It's the moment we've waited for, and the moment they dread.
Welcome to your doom.
I mean, welcome to the Sega Lounge Challenge.
Last time you were here, we played a game called Gioeli's Roulette of Rock. Okay.
Okay.
What that was I had a few children's rhymes, and I asked you to create rock anthems out of those lyrics. Okay. And I thought, in the reaction of the audience, we did this show live, by the way, back then in 2016, and the people went nuts. So I thought, why not keep going with another Gioeli's Roulette of Rock?
Okay.
So I have here 4 different children's rhymes, songs, whatever, and I'm going to ask you to pick 2. I can tell you what they are, and you can pick 2, or we can do this at random, and you give me a number, and whatever comes out, comes out.
I'm going to leave this up to you because I'm already scared. So I'm scared of what the outcome of this is going to be, but why don't you just pick and I'll go for it.
So I'm gonna send you the lyrics here.
What am I supposed to do, David, with these again?
So last time you were here, you transformed children's songs or rhymes into rock anthems.
Did I sing them?
You sang them. So
like right now I sang them?
If you want to, if you think you're up for it.
Yeah, of course.
You have all 4.
Yes.
Pick the one you think would be the best Johnny Gioeli rock song,
Okay.
rock anthem?
So the first one has to be Row, Row, Row Your Boat. We all know that one, right?
Uh-huh.
So if I were to rock this one out, should I do it?
Sure. Go for it.
Okay. This one's easy. This one should be like this. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. That's the way I would do that one. What do you think?
Amazing. That's amazing.
Okay, next one. Let's see. I'm a little teapot. No, I can't do that one, but I can do Ba Ba Black Sheep. That would go like this. Ba Ba Black Sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir, 3 bags full. One for the master, one for the dame, one for the little boy who lives down the lane. Just like that.
That was amazing. That is actually a rock anthem right there. Very good.
Thank you. That's funny, man.
Amazing.
Thank you, bro.
Gioeli's Roulette of Rock, back on the Sega Lounge. A fan favorite, I'm sure.
Awesome.
Judging by everyone's reactions the first time. So yeah, amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for
You're
agreeing
welcome,
to
bro.
do this.
No problem, man. No problem.
Awesome. Okay, we talked about your solo project. We talked about your Hardline project as well. It's your baby, as you said. You
Yeah.
worked with, still work with Axel Rudy Pell. What would you say are the differences between doing a Sonic show, however big or small it is, and a Hardline or Axel Rudy Pell show, however big or small it is?
I don't really feel any differences other than, of course, the music is different, as obviously. But as far as what I look to accomplish, and it's all the same. So when I get up on stage, I'm just recreating that music the best way I possibly can, so to for everyone to get the enjoyment out of that song and the memory out of that song. So really, like Axel Rudy Pell, it's the same thing, but it's more heavy metal music, and Hardline's more melodic, and Crush 40's more up tempo, fun, gaming memory. But for me, it's all songs. You know what I mean? So I don't really feel like it's a different, like, oh, I have to change my voice to make it sound like this, and I gotta. To me, it's just me on that style song, and whichever band is performing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain, but I don't really feel a difference. Like okay, now I gotta put my skull and crossbones on so I can sound a certain way. It doesn't work that way for me. It's just my voice is my voice, and I think it sounds the same on an Axl song as it does on a Crush 40 song. At least I think so.
Is there a difference when it comes to the crowd, to the audience of those shows, the energy from the public? Can you feel any difference?
Yeah, well, yes. So, of course, anyone that comes out to a show, whether it's an Axl show or Hardline show, Crush 40 show, everyone's excited, of course, to be at a show, to witness a live show. But the Crush 40 fans are probably, without question, the loudest, most excited, most grateful crowd that I play for. There's no question about it. It's funny. I just reviewed with my family. We were just sitting around because we're unfortunately all isolated here in the in the New York area.
Yeah,
and was sitting around looking through memory stuff, and I came across a Crush 40 show that June and I did in Mexico City. The crowd, when we step out onto the stage, you would think that it was the Beatles coming to America. It's insane. It distorts the microphone. That the sound of the crowd is so loud that it hurts. And so for sure, the Crush 40 fans are the best fans, loud and excited.
Interesting. That's great. And shout out to Mexico as well.
Yeah,
Lots of Sega
absolutely.
fans there. One of our
Oh
good
man.
friends, Kopke, I think Kopke, actual Manuel, was one of the people that I think helped organize the event when you went there.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
cool. Well,
I
that was
think
a
so.
memorable show and experience, and they all are. I mean, no matter where we go.
Hmm.
This August, I'm going to Russia to do a Supersonic Con in St. Petersburg. I can't wait. I did a big Axel Rudy Pell performance, two performances, one in Moscow and one in St. Petersburg. And we also played for the Bravo Awards, which is an award show at the Kremlin Palace in Moscow. And this is the equivalent of the Grammys. And we were featured in the show and performed. And the next day, after the awards show, we did a concert, and it was so sold out. I mean, it was ridiculous, thousands of people. And I would have to say that half the audience were Crush 40 fans. I mean, I couldn't believe how many Crush 40 fans. So I'm so excited to go back to Russia now, specifically to meet Sega Sonic Crush 40 fans. It's going to be cool.
Awesome, awesome, amazing. That will be great. A couple more questions.
Sure.
I was, as you said, as I said before, I was watching the video that you recorded about One Voice.
Yep.
You said something there that I found very interesting. You said, I spent countless days and nights in my studio thinking, singing, recording, and making sure I loved it before you, the fans, got a chance to love it. So this is something that I think we mentioned briefly last time you were here. You have to like or love a song before you put it out there for the public, right?
True. Yes.
Is that something that always has to happen? So
Yeah,
if
definitely.
someone comes to you with an idea, with maybe one of your hardline mates or maybe even June or whatever, and they say, I have this idea, I have this song or something, and you're not really, you don't think it's a great song, you won't do it, you won't record it.
Correct. So yeah, I won't do it. So the way it works for me is, you know, being a creative left brain person, I've got to be in love with what I'm singing about, and the execution of the actual singing part. You know what I mean? It has to. I have to. You know, I get so many people contact me. Hey, would you sing on this song? Will you sing on that song? Can you help me with this album? I'd love to hear your voice on this song. And I have to tell you that 99% of those I have to say no, because I need to be me, and I need to feel it, love it, so that I can do a great job. And then in hopes that it translates to the rest of the world. So my and again, in the first interview I did talk about this, and so I'm sorry to be repetitive, but it has to. I have to write for me first. I have to please my creative juices myself, in hopes that it translates and everyone loves the song. That's the way it works. I'm never thinking, because otherwise it would be fake. It would be completely unnatural plastic junk. If I said, okay, what does David want to hear? I think David loves when Dave loves when I go high. I'm going to sing really high. You know what I mean? It would just be fake, and I can't think that way. I can't think, well, what do the Crush 40 fans want? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. So why would I think that way? I know what I want, and I know what I feel, and I know what I envision. And then the rest, I just do it, bro. And I will tell you, I'll go back to a place we all love. The song Live and Learn. I literally, after that was all recorded, I contacted June and I said, June, does this suck? And he he laughed. He goes, what do you mean? I go, is this good? Did I do good? Is it okay? I go, I don't know that this is a good song. He goes, it's great. I go, I hope so, man. I mean, because that's what I feel. I love it, but I don't know, or you think everyone's going to be happy with it. So I think that's really the perspective that every musician has to come from. I mean, look, I'm not telling musicians what to do by no means, but I think that is a process that certainly has worked for me. So when I go in the studio, I'm not thinking about, okay, what can I sing here that will make everyone like feel this way? No, I just don't do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I go in, I hear a piece of music, and I go, "Oh, I hear this. This is what I hear on top of that. Oh my God, I love the way that makes me feel here." And then I start writing lyrics because it comes from a feeling, and then that rest of the process just flows. And some of the best songs, like "Live and Learn," for example, or "What I'm Made of," or "I Am," all came out in minutes lyrically. I mean, 5, 6, 7 minutes, just comes out, and that's really the way it should be when you're affected by a piece of music or something that inspires you. That's the way it should be. It shouldn't be this big thought process. It just shouldn't.
Yeah.
So
And so you sometimes just if you obviously if you're working on a game, for example, you have to look at some screenshots or some
yeah,
of the script or something. But when you're just writing songs, are there any cases of any songs that you just listen to the song, the music, and depending on how you felt about it, the lyrics just came from there?
yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly correct. And one of my most favorite hardline songs is a big power ballad called "In the Hands of Time,"
Mm-hmm.
and inspired by my frustration of working so hard and trying to move forward in the music business, and my father saying that everything in life it's in the hands of time. Just be patient and keep working and keep striving forward and don't stop. He'd say, keep going, boys, keep going. He'd tell my brother and I, keep going. And so when I heard my brother actually wrote that intro piece to that song, that just it immediately ignited the feeling and the lyrics for that song, and then from there I just went crazy on it. So that happens a lot. The sound of a guitar or a certain beat. I mean, yeah, look, if you're going to go and do a big power workout at the gym, you're probably not going to be listening to a love song. You're going to listen to something that's pumping you up, right? So same thing. So that's what drives me is usually, and that's the way I write. Incidentally, it's been a long time where, since I've sat down and just had a lyric that I mean, it happens to me sometimes a lot in the car, and I have to pull over and talk into my phone and the whole thing. So it happens, but not as much as being inspired by a piece of music. That's what works for me. So when June, for example, sends me a piece of music, like, "Hey Johnny, I wrote this riff. What do you think of this?" I'll immediately write back and go, "I hear it. I hear it. Let me work on it." And then I already know. I hear a melody. I have a lyric feel, and that's just kind of the way it works. And I will tell you, bro, every single time that I'm in the studio, I get scared because I think, is my water well, my creative well going to dry up today? And it never has. I'm telling you, I'm an old man now. I'm 52 years old, and it keeps coming. Thank God. The ideas keep coming, and I've never sat in the studio and went, I don't know what to do. It just happened. So I know that I was born to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And although I took a lot of time off, years ago, and I decided that I want to go out making music. I want to put my toes up, and this is my career. This is what I do. And when I put my toes up, and it's over for me, it will be music. That would be my last career. I'm not gonna go into Christmas tree farming or snail cultivation. It's gonna be
Oh,
my music.
you're missing out on a great industry, snail cultivating. That's great. Shout
I
out
could
to all our listeners that are cultivating snails
Yes.
right now.
Well, you know what? When I'm ready to slow down, I do have in the back of my mind, if I ever want to slow down, I would be just like a snail. So here's to the snail farmers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure the Sega Lounge is big amongst snail farmers.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
could be. I
yeah.
doubt it, but okay.
Okay, don't crush my dreams.
Yeah, right.
So you worked on Team Sonic Racing. That was
Yes.
your latest, at least that we know of, Sega
Yes.
project. How did that happen? And was it a long process between getting the call, writing the lyrics, recording?
Yeah. Well, these games they're a big deal for Sega company, and a big company like that. There's a process, and there's legal processes, there's creative processes, there's lots of meetings, and it takes time. So June had contacted me and said that um, Sega was interested in having me work on that game, and I was so thrilled because it's been such a long time, and of course, I said, absolutely. What do you have in mind? And then again, that process, they explained what it was, and I think I have to try to recall. I believe I was in Japan. I think June and I met in Japan, and we started in the studio together with the riff idea and the basic theme of what the outcome was supposed to be, and then literally I start writing lyrics, and then we turn the microphone on, and I start scatting ideas. Scatting is just sort of like mumbling,
Yeah.
mumbles, just like, you're not really saying anything, you're just
Mhm.
scatting and getting everything together there. And so I knew that it was a racing game, and I knew that it was, what the basic theme of the game was going to be. But again, I was on a need to know basis, and they didn't tell me very much. So I just started writing, and uh, actually, this is pretty interesting for the listeners. I've never had lyrics refused by Sega, but I believe I did on this one because I think it was the wrong direction. It was a little too strong or a little too heavy lyrically.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I remember, because we're going back a little bit, so I remember having to rewrite, and that was a little hard on me. I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa, man, okay. I wasn't thinking that way. All right, now I have to, think a different way. So again, the whole, Sega process is that I have to, follow a basic guideline of what they want, like a movie. If there was a love scene in a movie, I wouldn't have a metal song in there. You know what I mean? So I have to follow an outline, a basic outline. They don't tell me like, okay, you have to sing this way, or I want it low, I want it high, I want it mid range. They don't get involved like that.
Yeah, sure.
But lyrically, they want to make sure that everything is, coincides and with the game. So I did do a rewrite. That was a tough one for me. I'm like, wow, because again, when you're a creative person and you have an idea and you execute on the idea, when someone comes in and says, oh, no, it's not quite what we were thinking, we needed a little bit more like this, that, and the other, whew, it throws you for a loop. So I remember that happened. But once we got through that, the rest was just our normal June and Johnny process. We're fast. We don't mess around. We just know exactly what we have to get done. We schedule it. We work in the studio. Boom. We record. We do what we got to do. So that's how that went, and it obviously came out pretty well.
Yeah,
it got great reviews.
It won Radio Sega's Fan Choice Song of the Year last
Woo!
year. So yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
We need an alternative version though. You need to somehow find the first lyrics, the first version, and record it as
that's a good idea,
an alternative
man.
version. Yeah.
That's a good idea. We'll have to see if we can make that
One
happen,
day,
but
one
that's
day.
cool. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I,
great.
I know that I just exchanged, because of this crazy worldwide virus that's going on, this COVID-19 that's going on. I was just in touch with June to make sure that he and his family are well, and he did say that he's going to be, writing me to um, look at a few opportunities together. So I'm sure that means Crush 40 live shows and more music and stuff like that, which I am so open to doing and excited to do it. I only kick my own butt because back in the day, meaning back in the Adventure 2 time frame, Crush 40 should have done a world tour. We should have just went and played for the entire world.
Oh
As many
yeah.
What were we thinking? Why
Yeah.
didn't you, David? Why didn't you tell us what
Yeah.
happened there? Why didn't you call me?
Exactly.
You didn't
Why?
have my
Why?
number. You didn't have my number, did you?
No, I did. I didn't back then. No, no, no. The Sega
Okay.
Lounge came a little bit
Yeah, it came a
down
little
the
bit
road,
later.
further down
Yeah,
the road. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. So you mentioned the pandemic that's affecting
Yeah.
everyone. How has it affected your work? I know there was an Axel Rudy Pell album coming out, but it got
Well,
delayed as well, right?
well, the album, I think. Oh, did the album get delayed? You might have more information than
I
me.
think
So I'll
so.
tell you. I'll tell you what did happen. So
Yeah.
I had a whole hardline tour
Mhm.
that began. It was like the second. We call it the second year leg of the album life, and so April I had to cancel that tour, which was it was a UK tour. It was Switzerland, Germany. Anyway, so that got canceled, and then Axe Rudy Pell, the first leg of the tour for May is canceled. So I decided prior to April, from Christmas, I was going to take, a bunch of months off. I was going to take December, January, February, March, nice solid 4 months. But for me to have April off, May off, and I don't go back out on the road till the end of June, and I hope that still happens. This is too much time for me to sit around. I'm
Yeah.
going insane. I'm going completely out of my mind. I think everyone in my house wants me to leave. They're like, please leave. So what I'm doing, so it has affected my life, greatly with respect to travel, of course, because I
Yeah.
can't tour.
Mhm.
But I'm in a very fortunate position where I don't, obviously I don't go to a regular job where I have to get up and drive to a company and work and come home. So, so nothing's changed. I still wake up and go for a long run, and then I jump in the studio or do whatever, moves me for the day. This morning I woke up before the sun and I decided I'm going fishing. So I grabbed my fishing poles, and we have beautiful lakes here in the state of Connecticut, and I did a little fishing, and then I looked at my watch and said, "Oh my God, I've Sega Lounge. I got to get home." And
Exactly.
so so I grabbed my stuff and came home. So it's affected a lot of others a lot worse than me, and I'm so
Yeah.
sad for those that it's affected them, financially and their workflow and their businesses, and it's so surreal. I know in my 52 years of my young life, okay, old life, that I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
Nothing like
Yeah.
this.
These are
Excuse
weird
me.
and unprecedented
It's weird.
times for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just very, very strange. Very,
So,
very strange.
since you mentioned that, I'm sure you believe just like me that music can help people go through tough times. Music can
Yeah.
heal, right?
Sure.
Let's say you could pick one of your songs, wherever, Hardline, Crush 40, whatever. Let's say you
okay.
could pick one of your songs to serve as an anthem, as a message of positivity in these times. What would that be? What would
Well, I will tell you, there's one song that hits me immediately that we're actually going to be doing a sort of a hardline remix of a Crush 40 song, which has
Oh.
never been done before. And the song is called Song of Hope. And I released this back when Japan had the big tsunami. And I wrote that song with June. I said, June, I want to, let's create the song and then let's donate whatever money's raised from this song and help the people. And we did just that. And we're going to redo it with a little bit more of a hardline style, and we're actually working on that. Alessandro, and who's actually was not in Italy at the time. He was in Florida at his recording studio there, and we're going to work on it this weekend remotely. I'm in my studio, he's in his studio, and good old Skype sessions, and we're going to remake that song this weekend. So if you want to check out Song of Hope, the original Crush 40 version, that I think is a good song for what's going on right now, because that's what we need. We need hope right now, that we can get ourselves, our lives, back to normal. And, those that aren't as affected like me, it takes me hearing from someone that's had a tragic event. Like I just learned from guitar player of Hardline, Mario, that one of his good friends just passed away from this virus. And when you hear that, when you're connected with someone who lost someone in this, it's shocking, bro.
Yeah.
It is the reality. It's like just a slap on the face. And so I think if everyone checks out Song of Hope, the original version, and then you'll hear the remix very soon. We'll have that announced through our social platforms, probably mid next week.
That's a great pick. So Johnny, it's been a blast. It's always great to have you on the show. I have one more question. It's a question that I ask everyone these days, and that is related to something that Sega did back in the 90s when the Sega Genesis, the console, was a big thing, and the marketing team thought, how can we say that the Sega Genesis is more powerful than the competition? So we're going to come up with a term called blast processing, and we're going to say that the Sega Genesis has blast processing. So in reality, it really wasn't a thing. It wasn't a real thing.
But was that true, bro? Was that with the marketing?
Yeah. They came up with this term, blast processing, to say that the Genesis was more powerful than the Super Nintendo. And so my question to you is, if you could add blast processing to anything in the world, what would it be and why?
Oh, man.
Something that makes something even more powerful, more effective, whatever. Blast
I think we should have supersonic love. That's what we need right now in the world. Supersonic love. That's my marketing pitch, where the most powerful love that we can deliver to each person in this beautiful world. That's what I'm all about. That's the processing we need.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Amazing. Yeah.
Thank you,
I'm speechless. True. Yeah, it's true. It's really true. Especially these days. We really need that. Okay. So, Johnny, thank you very much.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
It was really great to talk to you again. And you're welcome to come back anytime. And
I'm always there for you guys and all the Sega Lounge listeners. You guys are awesome. Thank you always for your support. How many years? Since 1998 we've been doing this. So, most of you have been around. Some weren't even born in 98. But anyway, thank you for your continued support for Crush 40 and for the entire gaming industry, all the events that we attend. And I hope to see a bunch of you in St. Petersburg. That would be awesome. August 15th and 16th. What a blast that's going to be. And so I look forward to the next lounge event with you, David. So thank you, bro.
And more children's songs. Or maybe not.
We'll have to see.
We'll have to see. Thanks, Johnny.
You're welcome, bro.
What a great song. Song of Hope by Crush 40. And what a great guest. Thank you so much to Johnny Gioeli for coming back to the Sega Lounge, and a special shout out to Ali Martel, his assistant, for being all around awesome and helping me out with scheduling and other matters. Rock on, guys! I hope you enjoyed this week's show. I know I'm never looking at Baba Black Sheep the same way ever again. Next week, I'll be back with a brand new interview. I'll be heading to Japan, sadly not physically, but virtually, to talk to Mineko Okamura of Grounding Inc. and Takumi Yoshinaga of Sega of Japan, two of the people involved in the original Space Channel 5 and the recent Space Channel 5 VR game. We'll have a special giveaway as well, so don't miss it. Again, thank you very much for listening. Please consider subscribing to the show if you haven't done so yet, and feel free to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Also, Podchaser is still holding a campaign donating 25 cents to Meals on Wheels for every review that you leave on any podcast, and an extra 25 cents for every reply by said podcast. An extra incentive to review us by going to podchaser.com/thesegalounge, right? And as always, go to thesegalounge.com for every other episode of this show. Let's all do our best to get through this together. Have fun, stay safe, stay strong, and stay home if possible. I'll be back next week. Bye-bye! The Sega Lounge, hosted by me, KC, and part of Radio Sega's network of live shows and podcasts. Theme song and incidental music by OSC. Find them at opussciencecollective.bandcamp.com. Got any suggestions? Drop me an email to kc@radiosega.net. Follow us on Twitter at The Sega Lounge. You can find previous episodes of the show by going to thesegalounge.com and wherever fine podcasts are downloaded.